Okay, so the next project we're going to be working on is Chapter 4C, Ana Sanchez, which is a folding table tent for a Mexican restaurant. And this project introduces a couple new things, as well as rehashing old paragraph styles that we learned and character styles. So the first thing that it introduces is moving the 0 point on your rulers in the document. So we'll go over that. It sounds a little abstract, but it's really easy. And then the thing that I'm really excited about is introducing rules and paragraph options. See this line here? Like previously we've been drawing them out with the line tool, but you can actually specify these lines here, and what looks like a highlight across the column is actually a rule that's embedded into the paragraph. And these rules here, it's specified, and so it just makes life a lot easier. If you hit return, those rules you don't have to individually move them like an image or other object. They go along with the text as if they were part of the text flow. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, but when I show you, it will make more sense. So first things first, this project requires you to actually go and create your own InDesign document. And I started one already, but I'm gonna start from scratch just in case you guys needed help with that. Because this time we're gonna change the number of pages to 2. Facing on or off doesn't matter, I think. And then it's 5 inches by 10 inches. And just keep tabbing through columns and gutters because we don't need to mess with that. But for the margins, just make sure the link is on because they all should be the same. Just take it down a couple to 0.25 inches. Hit OK. And then your document should now look like this. Whoops. I'm having trouble moving my window here. Okay, and then there should be a second page. So first, what they ask you to do is draw a horizontal line, a guide. So by clicking and dragging from the top, you can just drag down a guide to, they want it at 5 exactly, and I just eyeballed it this time, but it looks like I'm a little bit off. So it says 5.02. So I can just hit 5, type 5 inches, and hit enter, and this should be exactly 5 inches now, which is what I want. And then I'm supposed to do it to the second page as well. And that line, that guide is there to represent where the table tent will fold. Whoops. Can't drag a rule anymore. That's interesting. Okay. All right, there we go. For some reason it wouldn't let me. Okay, and so I'm gonna drag it down to 5 again. And this time I got it right on, so I'll leave that alone. And then for the top, they wanted us to change the 0 point. Now the 0 point is basically where the 0 starts and goes up. Like for example, it starts at the edge of the document here, and goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches because we specified 5 inches. And then here it starts also at the top of the document and then goes down to 10 inches. But we want to change that 0 point so that it's actually starting horizontally on where we made the rule. So now I just moved the 0 down to here. It's now in the middle of the page instead of at the top. So now you can count 5 inches up and 5 inches down, which is what we want, because if you look at the example here, it's 5 inches on one side and 5 inches on the other because of the fold. So this is an example where you would actually want to move the 0 point. And I was kind of wondering when you would use that when I was going over the textbook. I've never changed the 0 point. but I can see how this would be really useful, especially because we're going to be measuring from here a certain amount of x and y coordinates this way or that way. So that is the next step, because we're going to place the tomato image a certain distance below that line. Okay, so the next thing to do is place the tomato image. So File, Place, or Controller Command D. There you are. And then I got to make sure I go to the right folder here. So it's Anna Sanchez, double click. And then I'm choosing the cover image, which is also a Photoshop file. And then you can see it's loaded right now. And if I click, then it just pops into its own little text frame or image frame, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to make sure that this image is going to be at the quarter of an inch down, so 0.25 in the y coordinate. So 0.25, enter. So it's a quarter of an inch down from the fold. And then from there, we're supposed to resize it, crop it down. Just by moving the text frame itself, you can make more or less of the tomato visible. And you're just gonna crop it down to the margin that we set when creating the document. I just want to show you also that if you grab the white arrow, the direct selection tool, and you can see how much is actually sticking beyond the text frame or the frame itself. Since this is an image, it's not text, so I guess it's just a frame. So with the white arrow, you can move the image within the frame so that the frame is just kind of like a window that the image is peeking through. And so it's just something to be aware of. You're not actually cropping the image. The information is still there. It's just hiding outside the window view of the frame. Okay, so that's about how they have it. Maybe it's over a little more. Actually, when you are in your black arrow, your selection tool, you can still adjust it. When your mouse hovers and sees this like little transparent donut thing, you can still adjust it. So there's two ways to move the image within the frame. Okay, next what we're going to do, oh yes, I need to crop this up a little bit more where it's cutting off some of the stem, because we got to make space for the logo, which we're going to place. So this time I'm going to use my shortcut controller Command D, and then grab the logo, and that's an Illustrator file I can see, and hit open. And again, my cursor is loaded. I can just press anywhere and it opens. Oh yes, and another thing they introduced here is scaling. We're going to scale the logo to make it bigger because, whoops, suddenly pressed something. Okay, as you can see here, the logo looks a lot bigger than it appeared here. There's a couple ways to get the scale menu, but the best and easiest way, I think, is through the context menu, which is whenever you right click something, like if you want to copy and paste, you can right click something. If you have a Mac, you hit Control and click. So I have a Mac, so I'm hitting Control and clicking, and here's my we call it context menu that appears. You got your cut, copy, paste, blah blah blah, and then in InDesign you have transform. So I'm gonna pick scale in the transform options. And then they said to enter, they said to scale it to 195%. So just hit 195 on your keyboard and then hit tab. Because it's linked right now, it should make it even for the X and Y, 195, 195. And if you look here, I have preview checked. So when preview is checked, you can see what it will look like. If it's not checked, it won't look any different until you hit OK, and then just move it. And right now you can see that the quality doesn't look that great, and that has to do with the fact that right now we're in like a fast viewing mode, because when you have high quality images, it takes a lot longer to load the pages. So if you want to move through pages, say this is only a 2-page document, but if you had a 100-page document and you had all your images in high quality mode, it would take a long time just to kind of scroll through the pages. So this is a fast viewing mode. It just kind of shows like a blur of what it will look like. But if you want to preview it, which I like to do, you just go to View and then Display Performance. Okay, and right now it's in Typical, but if you want to see what it will look like in the end, you go to High Quality Display. And now you can see it in a high quality display mode. And then right now I want to center my logo, and so I'm going to go up to my alignment options in the control panel, which appear when you have your selection tool selected, because that has to do with moving items and selecting items. So the alignment options automatically appear. So I'm going to center, make sure that I'm set to center to the page, and then hit center. And now my logo is centered. Whoops, I was going to save this. Let's see. It's always a good habit to try and save your document as you're working instead of waiting till the very end in case something happens. So I just hit the controls, the keyboard shortcuts, but you can go File, Save. Oh, there it is. Okay. Or you can hit Control or Command S. And then I'm going to call this, let's see, make sure you go to the right folder. Because again, since I'm placing images, I have to make sure my InDesign file is right next to the images, or the images won't show up properly. So I'm going to call it O4C and then my name, Archive. Oops, I misspelled my name. Oh well, whatever. And then now we're going to go down to the next page, because that page, I believe, is finished. And I think I should also move the 0 point in this one. Let's see. I have to click up here and drag, and sometimes it doesn't seem to want to do it. There we go. Alright, so the 0 point is there at the middle. Realize that it didn't say to change the 0 point for the second page. I guess it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to just undo what I did. I think if you just double click here, yeah, if I double click in where I grab the little 0 point, it resets. So now the corner 0 again, and the top and the let's see, the X and Y zeros are the same now. They're back to the way they were, and they are at the top left corner of the document. So just remember, if you can't hit Control Z because you've already done it a long time ago, then you can just double click to reset the zeros. It's really easy. All right, so the next part is to place another picture. So I'm going to place, it's called, the image called Stems. And there it is. I'm going to place it, and it looks like it fits perfectly in the margins here. That looks like where it's supposed to go. And then place logo next again. So I'm going to hit Control D and place the logo again. And this time they want us to scale it, but at a different size. So at 128. So I'm going to hit right click or control click, depending on Mac or PC, to get my context menu. And then, where is it? Transform scale. This time I'm going to hit 128. And then tab to make the bottom. And then I can preview it. And that looks about right. And hit OK. And then again, I want to center it in my document. So I click center in my control panel. And then next, I got to type up a paragraph. So let me pause for a minute. was I typed the text and I also formatted it exactly as they specified with Adobe Garamond Pro Italic 12 point over 14.6. And next what we're going to do is add that rule. So let me show you what it looks like. Where is it? There it is. So I'm going to add that rule to it. And let me move that out of the way. I was making a little headway and just trying to finish typing up the rest of the text. Okay, so what I want to do is pull up the rule options. And in order to do that, you can either hit the shortcut or you can learn the long way. So I'll do both. For now, I will show you the long way. And it is all the way over in the far top corner of your control panel. If you remember about swatches, I think I have to make sure it's selected. I have to make sure my paragraph itself is selected, I think, for it to work. Oh yeah, see, the menu, the control bar menu changes a lot compared to, depending on what you have selected. So now that my paragraph itself is selected, I have so many more options, including the one that I'm looking for, which is paragraph rules. And the shortcut for it was on the side there, but we'll go over that in a little bit. So for now, we want to put a rule at the bottom of the paragraph. So you have two options, above or below, and ours is on the bottom. So we make sure to pick below and turn it on by clicking the check mark. And then the weight we want is, I already set it because I went ahead and did it. So it's 0.5 and then with a regular solid line. Nothing fancy yet. And then we want it to span the width of the column. So from text frame, the entire text frame. So it's going to span the width of the column. And yet, even though it doesn't here, you can see it's previewing right now, because there's an indent, a 1-inch indent on either side, which I already added. I also added that it's offset. Offset has to do with the distance it is away from the paragraph. So how much space there is. And I can't remember what the offset was now, so let me go back and check. The offset was 0.125. So right there, with the left indent on either side. So you can make the rule go, if it was 0, I'll show you what that looks like. 0 and 0, whoops. Then it would go all the way across, as you can see in the preview. It would look like that. But we want it to have a little bit of an indent on either side. And so I'm going to use the shortcut this time. It's Alt or Option or plus Control or Command, and then you hit J. Okay, so let me go, back to rule below. Whoops, rule below on. And then add that inch back in there. I'm just going to enter it 1 inch, tab 1 inch, and then you'll see the difference. Hit OK. Oops. Didn't work. Maybe because I didn't have the paragraph selected. So I'm going to hit Control A or Command A to select the entire paragraph and try it again. Gotta make sure that it's selected, because it only applies to the paragraph, nothing else. So you can select one paragraph at a time, which we will do in the next part. So, like I said again, 1 inch, tab, 1 inch. Okay. And now there's 1 inch indents on the rule on either side. I was just typing the text here. I just wanted to go over one thing that is a little review, but I wanted to make sure you did it correctly. For the names of the items, the menu items, highlight them, type them out with capital letters when necessary, and then you select them and then make them into little caps with the control panel. So make sure that you do it that way. Also, I haven't done this yet, but turn on your hidden characters because it's important to see that this time we're not doing a soft return between the menu title and the description. This time we're setting a separate paragraph. Each time it's a paragraph. And there's a reason for that because we're going to set a rule for this title, and then also the description is going to have a separate rule, and the rules apply to each paragraph. So if we had this is call it a shift return, a soft return, then we wouldn't get the rule there. So it's important to make that distinction. You got to put a paragraph there, a paragraph there, a paragraph there, etc. Each line is a paragraph, or each section is a paragraph where we're going to have a rule. So that makes sense. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to format, oops, that was all caps, but I want baby caps. There we go. And then I'm going to format the rest of it really quick since that is review. Go ahead and did the formatting, and now we're going to add the rules. So what I have to make sure to do is highlight just this paragraph, which is black bean salsa. That's all that's on that paragraph, and with my hidden characters visible, I can see that. And then go ahead and I'm going to hit Alt or Option or plus Command or Control and then J to pull up my paragraph rule options. And this time I'm going to put rule above, turn it on. And I already selected it. I picked the color that I wanted, which was yellow. And I turned the tint from, it was 100, which is bright, to 30%, which is what they specify. And the weight was, let's see, the weight was 18 points. 18 points, so I gotta make it a little bigger. And then width of the column, there's no indent this time. And there's an offset of negative 0.056. Okay, negative. So going down, negative 0.056, 556. Okay, and I'm going to tab to the next column. I think that's it. Let's see the preview of it. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then hit OK. And then I got to do that for the rest of them as well. So for this one, let me pause again. And then for the paragraphs, the description paragraphs, we're going to also set up a rule. I'm going to hit my shortcut again. And then do a rule below this time. And you got to turn your rules on. And you can't do this, like you can set a paragraph to have rule above and below it, but because these are different paragraphs, we have to set each one, even though as tedious as this may seem, it does save time in the end. Okay, so this time we're going to make the thickness of the stroke, the weight to 7 points. 7. And then we're going to choose the type wavy. And let's see. What else? The width of the column and the offset is 0.125. So let me increase it to 0.1. Whoops, I went too far. 125. Okay, let's see. Can I see it? Can't really see it. Not yet. And then let's see. I think that's it. Oh, and the color. We have to change the color. It's supposed to be different colors for each one. So I'm going to make this one green and then leave the tint as it is and hit OK. And for some reason I can't see it. So hold on. I got to figure out what I did wrong. What I forgot to add some space between each of these paragraphs. There's space added before each paragraph. So that definitely makes it look a lot more breathable here. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the rules to the rest. And then I will be done.